Oh my God.
Just pull off the Band-Aid. Just do it. Go live. Y'all, if you don't know already, right before Allie and I hit the airwaves here, we get a polite little nudge in our ear that says, "You ladies ready?" And for a moment, for just a moment, we go, I don't know. Are we ready today, Allie? It's a happy Tuesday. This week feels already like an eternity because of the short week.
The longest week, and it's only Tuesday.
And yesterday felt like the longest Monday ever. Ever.
Guys, good morning, first of all.
Morning.
Thank you for joining Open Mic this morning. We appreciate you. If it looks like or sounds like we're struggling, guys, I literally woke up an hour before I needed to take my kids to school, which is so not okay. None of the alarms went off this morning.
Oh my gosh, Allie.
And I checked before we went to bed. None of them went off. And so I jump out of my bed at 6:37 and I'm like, oh my gosh, we have to leave in 25 minutes. It's insane.
Oh my gosh, I cannot imagine. And then they all go to different, because they're different ages, they go to different schools. So it's
oh my gosh, it was a literal insanity this morning. And then I just figured out why my mic wasn't working. Guys, listen.
What?
I need more coffee. I didn't turn it on. It's plugged in, but I did not turn it on. I'm like, what is going on here? Why is this not working? I can't. I love y'all. Thank
Allie,
you.
we love you. We love you. I miss that you're not in studio. There's a moment where I pull in the parking lot, because for those of you that don't know, Allie does not always inform me when she's going to make the trip here to be in the studio, except usually on Fridays. And so there's moments where I fly into the parking lot, usually almost late, and I see her car and I almost forget to put the car in park because I'm so excited to see her. Today I pulled in and it was like, whoa, whoa. She wasn't.
So I was planning on coming today, but I did not.
That makes sense though. That makes sense. Well, thank you for joining us. We're glad that you all came and decided to tune in today for an hour of You Just Never Know, because it is live. We're thankful to Patriot TV, all of our viewers on all of the channels, including our listeners on Spotify. If you haven't already, make sure you share the link so that your friends and your family can stay in the know. We're going to cover it all today. What is happening off the coast of Venezuela? The seditious six, the Democrats, they really, wow, Allie, they stepped in it and then they kind of walked around and stepped in it again. You know, have you ever done that, gotten gum on your shoe, and then you get it off and then you kind of are busy talking and you step in it again? I'm telling you, these Democrats.
I think they're swimming in it by now. All right, you guys, let's go ahead and open this mic before we get too far into our segment. We love y'all. Keep it right here. We'll be right back after this opening.
Taking back our freedom, back to where we started. We're wearing our red hat tonight. It takes more than just a feeling. Oh, better be believing, and America's gonna be home.
What do you do when they try to cancel you? MAGA nation, we cancel proof. My red hat stays on. My red hat stays on. You know I love God, but in Trump I trust. November 5th, he gon' ride with us. Our red hat stays on. Our red hat stays on. It's the mayor of Maggie,ville, the RNC king. 2024, freedom gon' ring. Mr. Red, White, and Blue. I'm still fighting for each one of you. And keep your red hat on.
Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you good.
Yeah?
Coming in loud and clear, darling.
Krista, how's it sound? Sound okay?
Sounds good? Yeah, you sound good. All right. Guys, let's go ahead and get started with our President Trump that was very active in the last day. I mean, I know there was a time, Allie, where people were hoping that somebody would take away his ability to post on X or Truth because he was just hurting everybody's feelings. But he's been out really posting almost 400 posts between Truth and X in about an hour. Of course, this was late last night that I saw this, but take a look at some of these posts. Seem to be hitting him right in the feels. He's talking about, he reposts Alex Jones saying Michelle Obama may have used Biden's auto pen in the final days of his disastrous administration to pardon key individuals. Of course, they're claiming that from Patrick Byrne. We know Patrick Byrne very, very well. Also reposting the skiff talking about John Brennan. because all roads lead to Obama, and John Brennan had a lot to do with the Russia hoax that was perpetrated onto General Michael Flynn and Trump both. Reposting that Donald Trump is not a Democrat, he's not even a Republican, he's a movement, the greatest president to ever live. These are just a handful. He also talks about the fraud in the 2020 stolen election, and Tina Peters out in Colorado, who's obviously serving time, and there's been a push for him to try to somehow intervene in her jail sentence for really just doing her job within Colorado elections. So, Allie, busy guy.
Yes, very, very busy. And I think that is so important. I was in a space last night hosted by the one and only David Pollock, who also has a show here on Patriot.tv. It's called The David Pollock Show. I think it's only Mondays that he does the show.
Yes.
And I think it's at 8, I think.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. Anyway, we were in spaces last night, or it drops on at 9 o'clock, I think. Anyway, regardless. We were in spaces, and there was someone that was in there that was talking about how they miss the transparency of this administration. And a lot of us were a little taken aback by that. Like, what do you mean? We've been, I think, the most transparent, even in his second term, more so than his first term. And we kind of went down, what was transparent. But I think this is exactly what he's talking about, is just, being more forthright, more forthcoming with the information. I know that Dan Bongino has also gone to X and has made a very large post about certain things that they're doing, the things that they're accomplishing, because we've been asked, right? Like we've been sitting here like, okay, well, when is this going to happen? When is that going to happen? What are you guys actually doing? Because we don't see anything moving. And so to have our administration come out on social media and put out what they are doing, that is transparency. That is what is going to energize the base for 2026, these midterms. That is what is going to, ease the minds of the American people that gave this mandate November 5th of 2024. So I think it's important.
Well, and I think this is what's exciting about the digital soldiers that General Michael Flynn refers to as those people that are bringing, like Allie and I and others that are bringing information directly to you, being a part of this information dissemination going out to everybody, is that the administration, largely, most in the administration, listen to the feedback. And instead of telling, hey, girls, be a little patient, this helps because when you realize that you want to be somebody who brings information to people and you want to do it in a way that allows people to, first of all, make their own decision, but also you don't have to read a talking point verbatim. If that's in your heart, and that's why you do what you do, and I know that's why Allie and I do what we do, it's very difficult to then tell us, theoretically, we're working on it, stay tuned, for too long. Eventually we're like, wait a minute, these rules apply to you too. What the heck's going on over there? And so grateful to see, especially Bongino, because he was somebody that we leaned on so much to cut through the noise with his Secret Service background. Yeah.
Right. To get information. And so I think that, honestly, I'm just going to put this out here, shameless plug. We are open for those conversations. If there's anybody that is currently serving in office that would like to disseminate information that they feel is important for their constituents to know, please reach out to Open Mic Ladies. You can go to contact@openmicladies.com, and we will be glad to disseminate that information for you, because it is important that the American people, the people that you serve, your constituency, understands exactly what you're doing. Utilize the free market press to your advantage. Don't allow the legacy media to take hold of a narrative and spin it and spin it and spin it and spin it until you can't get yourself out of it.
Yeah.
Utilize those that you trust, that are in your circle, that will disseminate the information, the proper, true information that you're giving them without a spin.
When you think about people that have, like in the past, like Ryan Williams, AKA, what does he call himself? The bacon
guy.
Big Bacon. Reminds me of Big Mac. I don't know. I don't want to give McDonald's like a plug, you know what I mean? But, the idea of sharing his story on the eve of him traveling back to the UK and being arrested for what? For basically just what they consider free speech violations, right? You can't say how you feel if it comes against a certain group or a certain ethnic group.
Well, that's not free speech.
It's not. And UK's never had it.
Right. That is crazy, of violating free speech. What do you mean?
But think about that, Allie. Where else was he going to go to get that information out?
Right.
I didn't see ABC News knocking on his door. And Sky News out of Australia, they took not just him off the air, but the people he interviewed with. It was supposed to be a renegade show, like a wonderful firebrand show. They pulled the plug on the whole thing.
The whole thing.
And so I don't take it lightly when somebody like that says, will you please tell this story? I know what I'm going home to. Will you please tell this story? And I love that you made that plea. We do have certain people that we get a lot of information from that we like to share. I do still have a lot of respect for Jesse Waters over at Fox News. That could change at some point, but I don't foresee that. I think he's kind of a young guy who wants to get the truth out there. So let's talk briefly about the U.S. warships that are now surrounding Venezuela. I haven't gotten it. I've been waiting for an update on any movement over there. The reports that Maduro has surrendered in Venezuela, those came out. Those are largely they're false. He has not. Actually, it's from a speech that he did a couple of years ago. So let's take a brief listen to Jesse Waters, and then we'll talk about it.
Fox News alert, it is Judgment Day. Sources say Maduro's been praying to Jesus. That's the narco-terrorist, socialist dictator who took over for Hugo Chavez in Venezuela and keeps flooding American streets with migrants, gangs, and cocaine. 11 U.S. warships, including our largest carrier, the USS Gerald R. Ford, are now in the Caribbean. Venezuela is surrounded. The strike group is waiting on orders from the commander-in-chief as the president's holding high-level meetings at the White House, calculating our next move against the narco state. The choice is Maduro's. Trump's giving him an ultimatum: abdicate power or else. After Trump's phone call with the dictator, that's the best offer.
The New York Times reported that you had a phone call with Maduro. Did you?
I don't want to comment on it. The answer is yes.
And can you tell us a little bit about it?
No, I can't do that.
Obviously not. Would you say it went well?
I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call.
It was a
This
phone
time
call.
it wasn't a perfect phone call.
So
He literally just said, I will not comment, but yes. And then she goes ahead and asks a question that requires him to comment. Like, how? Oh, Lord have mercy.
I know there's, so we'll keep you apprised of what's taking place. But this is why it was so important for the Biden administration, along with Pete Hegseth, to make a firm stance that if you are from any country and you are bringing narcotics into this country, whether it's through the cartel arm, you have been deemed now a terrorist of the United States because you seek to see the fall and demise and poisoning of our people in this country. Those are largely acts of war. They're not traditional acts of war, but now that you've labeled those cartels and criminal networks as terrorists, that's why you see our military engaging, because we have a vested interest. This actually is America First policy at its core, because he's putting you and I and our young people in our streets first and saying, you know what, you don't get to poison our country anymore. I don't care that Democrats and Republicans have long had their hands out for handouts because cartels pay really, really well. And Allie, I want to get your opinion on something, because we've talked about the Seditious Six, the Democrats that came out with that really bad marketing campaign where they tried to talk about maybe not following unlawful orders or whatever from the president. I thought maybe this was what they were talking about, that, if Trump kind of wants us to be more aggressive with Venezuela, he's trying, like maybe Mark Kelly and them are trying to sow dissent in our military, you think?
Yes, that is exactly it. That's when they decided to come out with this video, was after the last narco boat was hit with our missiles, right? They were taken out. And then you see these fake stories coming out saying that Pete Hegseth gave an order with a general to go after a boat after it was hit to kill 2 other people, and that's not true. So the New York Times actually debunked it, which is quite literally insane if you think about it.
If the New York Times is doing the ethical job, we have shifted. I'm just saying.
You know what I'm saying? So, but this is an issue, because there are a lot of people that don't understand geopolitical politics, like they don't get it. And that's an issue. So we were also in Spaces, guys. If you are not on X, I understand that 7% of Floridians are on X, but if you are not on X, it is important for you to get on there, because this is where we get a lot of our information, the dissenting opinions, or the conversations that we're having with people that are plugged in, that understand things, that are in there. We're having these talks, and there was someone in there that was talking about how she's like, I didn't vote for this. Like, we don't want any more wars. Like, how is what's going on in Venezuela affecting America? Well, first of all, these gang cartels, Tren de Aragua, okay, you guys know who that is. It is a gang. It is a terrorist organization funneled and working with the government of Venezuela. They are a terrorist organization, which essentially makes the government of Venezuela terroristic, right? Okay. So when they are not just dealing with drugs, they deal in human trafficking, which is also known as slavery. Okay. And that is coming into, they're crossing the border or the ocean or the Gulf of America. That is our territory. Okay. We are not allowing them to move people or to move drugs in our waters. That is the point. Okay. We are doing what we are supposed to be doing. President Trump and government's responsibility is to protect its people, regardless of how you feel about that. That is the actual role of certain government, right? Our government, to be exact.
Well, and Allie, I love how you said that because I think it's an honest question. Some people maybe can't put those two items together, but maybe an analogy would help. Okay, so you think about the generation, I think one of our best generations, the baby boomer generation. Think about Pearl Harbor. And think about how after the bombing of Pearl Harbor, so many of us wanted to see intelligence leading up to that of how much our government knew and when did we act and why didn't we act. You think about 9/11. What did we know? Who was here? How did we know? And why didn't we act? So if we knew in the evening leading up to Pearl Harbor that there were Japanese ships X number of nautical miles off the coast of Hawaii, are you telling me that you wouldn't have want them to act? Well, what was their job? Their job was to come here and stir an upheaval, disrest, and to hurt lives of Americans. How is that any different than the narco boats that are coming across the Gulf of America, which is why branding matters, because guess what?
Yes.
It's our Gulf.
It's our Gulf. It's not Mexico. It's our Gulf. And honestly, like, this Maduro is a problem. He's been a problem since Biden administration. Biden administration did not.
Our failed elections go back to him. He's not elected.
He is not the duly elected representative of Venezuela. That's not the right person. So, and it's not like we're doing a regime change, you guys. We are essentially trying to protect the American people from the drugs that are coming over and from the human trafficking that's coming over and from the funding that comes with all of these illegal activities. That's right.
And let's not forget, while we may not be interested in our hand playing in regime change, don't mistake that for not thinking that the Democrat Party largely in this country is interested in a regime change. Check out what they're doing by this Seditious 6 video. Basically what they're doing is they're sowing dissent in our armed services. This has been a playbook. This is why we call it a color revolution, from stirring up people on college campuses. College campuses, by the way, that are heavily funded from foreign governments through NGOs. This is why they have a problem with making people extreme throughout the college environment. How many of you have sent your wonderful young people off to college only to have them return sounding nothing like how you raised them? And this is a part of really like we've talked about on this show, Allie, the black marrying the red. That's why we have a concern with the growing Islamic State and their terrorism, the growing Marxist socialist Democrat Party. I mean, this is an issue, and we're seeing it transition now onto our soil. And I think it's important that we talk about this almost on a daily basis, right, Allie?
1,000%. This color revolution did not start yesterday. It did not start with the Seditious 6. It did not start with. It actually started probably before 2020. If I'm honest with you, it was a slow drip into socialism, right? With Barack Obama, that's where it started. I mean,
and I'll tell you, some of those in this realm that are talking, that have been talking for a long time, say that a lot of this dates back even pre like 1980s, 1990s, and you have to remember that jihadists and Marxists and socialists play the long game. Guys, they don't care if they themselves actually see this to fruition, as long as the next generation does. And so we have to remember that the seeds have been here for a while. A little update real quick. And I love
why they're waiting out Trump and why they're giving him such a hard time, because he is the cog in the wheel. He is the tourniquet. It is up to us to make it, to bring America to fruition of making America great again.
I love that, Allie. So we share Nick Sorter's stuff a lot here. Ran into him at Turning Point's event, and obviously he was a groundbreaking journalist right there in Portland, Oregon, being assaulted. But Donald Trump shared his post. Take a look at this. So we just I feel like we should have a confetti parade when that happens. I know the White House shared you the other day, Allie. That's pretty exciting.
Yes, the White House and Response 47, I think it was.
They shared our very own Allie, guys.
And Donald Trump is like, he's on a truth like sharing spree. Like, so he's sharing Nick's order. He shared our friend Real Defender. I don't want to dox her name, but
I know she's amazing.
It's been amazing.
But this is what Nick Sorter had to say. The Trump administration has now halted 2 million asylum claims in the wake of the Afghan attack on National Guardsmen. So what we reported to you yesterday, he is revoking and halting that with the help and cooperation of Secretary of State Marco Rubio. So that's amazing. But more so amazing, I think, that he shared Nick Sorter stuff. That's pretty cool.
I think it's awesome. Honestly, it goes to show that President Trump is listening. He's listening. He's paying attention to what's going on in the base, regardless of whether or not you can get close to him, regardless of whether or not you can like dial his phone and call him and tell him how you're feeling or what you're thinking or what's going on. He's listening to the base, and that's what's important.
Absolutely. Allie, I want to pivot our discussion a little bit to the discussion of real ID. I know that's something we've talked about here in Florida. As much as we do love our governor, we do have real ID here. And anybody who has that little gold star on your driver's license know the amount of blood, sweat, and firstborn you had to give in order to get that at the DMV. It's now being reported that this Afghan that was brought here under the cooperation of the CIA, his license does have that real ID star on it.
Question, how the hell does a terrorist get a real ID? That is a huge problem when the FBI cannot flag a terrorist from getting an ID. Mind you, we had J6ers who could not get on airplanes, who could not pay their rent and their bills because the banks would not allow them to access the money that they have earned in their bank accounts. But we have terrorists that have actual real IDs.
We have a former national security advisor who had false intelligence claims brought against him, bankrupted nearly his family, and banks would not work with him. I'm going to tell you that some in the local GOP still won't work with him. This is like mind-blowing to me.
Right.
How does this happen? How does this happen? I want you guys to think about what you had to go through to get your real ID. You hard-working, tax-paying, middle-class Americans, what you had to do to get that real ID sticker on your driver's license, and they're giving them to people that have been here through some Biden-esque program, which, by the way, there is a tie now to that botched withdrawal and how they were brought here. Don't think they botched the withdrawal and then did a really good job of vetting these people. If they can botch the withdrawal, they botched the onboarding of these people as well.
They didn't care. They didn't care.
Lord. Well, and this is the problem too, is that we love our state, and those of you that live in a red state, absolutely, we love our red states, but we love our purple states. We love our red pockets and our blue states. But if you've got somebody like, Governor Newsom over there that's not vetting people properly, that absolutely trickles across state lines, because a lot of these people, you can see in the corner of his license, he's got a CDL license. A CDL license.
How? Again, we had praying grandmas and people that just walked the Capitol, the building, just walked it, didn't pick anything up, didn't touch a door handle, didn't anything. And they could not travel interstate, let alone internationally.
Wow.
We had moms that were deemed terrorist threats for going to school board meetings and being arrested at school boards that couldn't pay their bills and were threatened with jail. But you have a terrorist who has not only a real ID, but a CDL license.
Yeah.
Where's the museum at? Because the FBI headquarters needs to be made into a museum. Where's the museum?
CIA. I'm happy if we start with the CIA first. Let's start with the CIA. Maybe we can, we can make it in memory of the deep state that has long fallen.
I know that we're women and we don't have patience, but as moms, we really should have the most patience. But
because that's the message I get all the time is like, we're working on it. But no, I don't care how. If you don't, I'm assuming you're sitting on your best intentions until I see this. And so when we saw Dan Bongino in this, I was like, thank you. That's all we were saying is thank you. On to Laura Loomer, who is somebody's list you want to try to stay off of, because usually it means you've done something in the dark and she's bringing it to the light. Take a look at this. And it's obviously very, very...
Love her or hate her. I mean, talk about having a table built in front of your enemies. Oh, this girl.
So she is screaming. And listen, I will tell you firsthand, I know this. I know that she's got Trump's ear, so I love when she does this, her due diligence. And it's almost like, hey, I just want to let you know this, Mr. President. The current IRS is possibly defying President Trump by refusing to strip the 501c3 statuses from nonprofits that are importing Islamic immigrants and nonprofits tied to Islamic jihad and mass migration. Wait a minute. It's not just the Catholic churches that remember when they were helping people fill out the paperwork down at the southern border and saying, you know, all you have to do is just attest that you're a U.S. citizen. We don't need to see your ID. Just check a box. Well, there are those that cling to 501c3 statuses. I'm told some of them are within the Lutheran faith. Oh, boy. We'll get to that possibly on another day as more comes out about that. But so they love their 501c3 statuses, but they're helping these people come from areas of the country that do not love our Constitution, Allie.
They should lose their 501c3 status. If you're aiding and abetting terrorists and criminals, I'm sorry, you lose your 501c3.
And in case it's a lot of work for the State Department, because I know they're very, very busy, I love what Laura Loomer's done here. She's included some screenshots. One of them would be Afghan evac. They are one of them. The other one would be the Afghan American Foundation. Evacuate our allies. And no one left behind. But ching, that is a play off of the Book of Revelations, in my opinion. But so there you go. There's just a few, and I'm sure when you tug at that thread, the rest.
Right, tug at the thread. Let's figure out what falls out of it.
Just got a couple more. What? Just got a couple more, and I don't even know if our producer has them. Palestinian Youth Movement USA. Hey, I've seen them here in Sarasota County. And Westpac, WESPAC Foundation, they're in White Plains, New York. I'm talking each one of these organizations has well over $5 million. Just saying. And you wonder who's tied in with our education system. And
guys, this is huge. This is a huge bombshell, and I'm so thankful for Laura Loomer. I congratulate her. She's got press credentials for the Pentagon, which is absolutely amazing. She's in the press room at the White House, and it just congratulations to her. Honestly, talk about having the Lord build a table in front of your enemies, because people talk so much garbage about her, but she hasn't really been wrong.
I mean, this is the thing. They'll talk garbage, which is a lot of white noise. They'll never actually attack her on merit.
Well, this is the thing, right? This is what we're seeing too, is when it's the same that's going on with like the gubernatorial races and what's going on in Congress with the House and the Senate. You have people that are attacking other people on character and this false sense of morality that everybody thinks our government has all of a sudden, which has not been not a thing. Instead of policy. So when they attack you on your personal issues, things that are personal to you, whether it's your whatever it is, you're over the mark. Instead of discussing what policies you disagree with and what policies are terrible for the American people, you're attacking them on character and personal issues. Like, tell me that your TDS doesn't run deep, because it's not.
And again, I would largely love to see those that are elected to represent us have a moral compass. I'd love to see them a person of faith, but I don't expect the same thing from my president that I do from my pastor.
Well,
and I don't expect the same thing from my pastor that I do of my president.
Right.
I very much understand that there are two different roles to fill, and our job is to pray for them and hold them responsible. But that doesn't mean that I'm not looking towards, as Allie said, the legislative side of it, the policy side of it. How did you vote? And I think, Allie, I love that you bring that up, because that is a good
what
reminder.
is most important, because all this personal stuff does not touch anybody at their kitchen table.
Well,
unless
and
they're
Allie,
personally touching you at your kitchen table.
And Allie, let's face it, if we wanted to start to put our representatives and our senators under a microscope for what they do in their private lives,
we would have
wouldn't
no
have
leadership.
anybody elected. And I'm going to be honest. I'm not saying that everybody's evil intended, and you know, but we all fall short of the glory of God. So you're not going to tell me that there's not one person.
Look,
you're not going to tell me.
Look, open up your text messages. I want to see your bestie chat. Let me see the chat that you send to your, not your spouse, but your girlfriend. That your spouse.
Our bestie chat that says burn after reading.
Yes, I'm just saying.
We talk about policy all the time.
You cannot. We do. We really do talk about policy all the time. It's bad. It is so bad.
And then she's like, call me.
Yes.
Just want to, real quickly, because I know we're up against a commercial break, Kristi Noem did drop a wild accusation. Says that Democrats have rounded up 700,000 illegal aliens from across the globe. This is Democrats. Flew them first class on private airlines and private jets and brought them into your city on your dime. It's not me. Don't hate the messenger. Here's Kristi Noem.
Private jets, would you have the United States taxpayers have fly into foreign countries to pick up people to bring them here?
Now, Senator, we will no longer be undertaking that mission of the Department of Homeland Security.
So not 700,000 individuals on private jets over the last 4 years. You would not have any.
No. I'll be working with President Trump to put in place his agenda in adherence to our federal laws.
And how many illegals will you play?
The audio sounds really off with that. I don't know if that's just me or if everybody else can hear it, but it sounds like it's been slowed down and kind of like reverbed a little bit. It's weird.
Yeah. So this was reposted by Charlie's Voice Rising, who is somebody that we've shared before here, a Charlie Kirk spinoff. The point in this, and this was not anything new, this was something that they talked about during her confirmation hearings. But the reason we bring it to the forefront is that now we're thinking of in a different realm of who's in our country right now and how did they get here. We've told you that the UN used your tax dollars to build a broad program to basically create a borderless society, and Europe was their primary rollout. You see how it destabilized that region, so they tried it here. You know that's why Biden had his open border policies. We know now about the failed botched withdrawal out of Afghanistan and how we brought them into this country. But did you know it was also happening on private jets and other, I mean, even just think about the costs that are incurred with bringing them here. I would love a vacation on a private jet, just saying.
Thank you.
A mama that works hard.
I want to go to Martha's Vineyard. DeSantis. I mean,
see him tomorrow at a press conference. Maybe we'll ask him.
Can we?
He's gonna be like, and revoked.
Wow. And I know we're playing around and like it, but this is serious. This is
you have to play around because this is like so stupid.
Democrats have been aiding and abetting criminals. Like, think about that. You have people that are coming into the United States unvetted, circumventing our laws, and sitting representatives have been aiding and abetting criminals coming into our country illegally. That is a coup. That is part of a color revolution. Are you guys picking this up?
And I wonder what would cause somebody to sell their soul as somebody that's elected to represent us and actually bring in people that seek to do harm in this country, whether it's a university or a person or a representative. Who carries a lot of the wealth in this world? Drug cartels, criminal networks, and foreign countries that seek to make money on terrorism. Wow. You know what? When God said that, he didn't say that money was evil. He said the love of money is evil. And if that's why you've got to check people that you send to office. Because if they'd rather be wealthy and sell you out, we got issues.
Check their portfolios.
Check their donor list. It's public knowledge.
Their
or public information.
Where's Doge at? Why can't Doge?
Girl,
Doge
you know what?
individual House reps and individual senators to figure out where their money's going and like what their portfolios look like, because everything you do apparently from the dais is public record. So if you're stock exchanging while you're sitting in Congress, everything you do is public record. So
I mean, I just don't understand why what's her name, Martha
Stewart.
It's Martha Stewart. Why is she not like so upset? She did time in a nice looking orange jumpsuit for the same thing. Last thing we wanted to say before our quick commercial break is that Trump is in good health. His MRI was spot on. Somebody tried to get Caroline Leavitt in the press room and say, well, I heard that he had an MRI. You know what? They were so concerned about his cardiovascular health. You know what they didn't do, Allie? They never asked about the competency of Joe Biden while he was in the office. Not once. Nobody ever asked a damn question. You're worried about a frickin' MRI? Let's scan the man's brain and see if he's even there.
Repeal the Smith Modernization Act, and all of this ends. Just saying.
We're going to be back with, after this quick break, guys, make sure you get your Liberty cigars. More open mic when we come back.
From the heart of Marietta, Georgia, comes a tribute to the spirit of liberty. Liberty Cigars, where history meets craftsmanship. Each cigar tells a story. The Founders Collection honors the visionaries who shaped a nation. The President's House Collection celebrates the leaders who steered it. And the Naval Series salutes the heroes who defended it. Handcrafted with precision, each blend mirrors the essence of its namesake. From the boldness of George Washington to the elegance of Thomas Jefferson. Indulge in a moment of reflection. Light a Liberty cigar and savor the legacy. Discover your story at libertycigars.com, because every great nation deserves a great cigar. Liberty Cigars, smoke the history. And don't forget to use promo code OPENMIC for 10% off your order.
Allie probably gets so tired, and Krista in our ear hearing me sing. You know that little opening song where the Patriot TV logo is spinning and we're largely just waiting?
I don't know if they can even hear it.
Okay, well, it's elevator music, but it does something, and I just have to hum along to it. And I'm not like claiming I'm like a good shower singer, but like only because of the acoustics. So I apologize if we come back from commercial break and y'all hear anything.
So I do want to say that they have an inaugural cigar series that's pretty awesome. And it's got like the 13 colonies it is pretty much represented. You got John Adams, James Otis. There's the Founders Collection. There's the James Madison, the George Washington, Francis Marion, the Thomas Jefferson, John Adams, Alexander Hamilton, Patrick Henry. They even have a Trump cigar, guys. If you there's even a holiday box. I'm not sure if you have to go through to the website and look around, but their cigars are pretty awesome. So
make sure you use promo code Open Mic and support your Open Mic ladies right here. Thank you guys so much, Allie, and thanks for that update.
Gifts.
Yeah, they do make great gifts. Yes. Want to just really quick hit on the fact that Mark Kelly was really caught red-handed recently because somebody did ask him. Of course, he's one of those Democrats that thought it was a great idea to encourage the military to disobey Trump. Of course, he said unlawful orders, but honestly, unlawful orders would not be able to be given through the military. So it's very, very interesting. But they asked him here. They said, were you specifically talking about what took place in Venezuela? And he answers, very interestingly, no, I was just talking in general. Take a listen.
Sort of flimsy legality that was being offered during the briefings. Were these sort of strikes that are now in the news what you were making reference to when you posted that video telling members of the military that they needed to feel okay just obeying orders that they felt were illegal?
Based on who this president is and who the Secretary of Defense is, and specifically things that the president has said in the past and things he was talking about doing in the future. Let me give you an example. 2016, he's talking about something on a debate stage that was clearly illegal. And he was reminded by Brett Baer from Fox News that that would be an illegal order. Military won't do that. You know what the president's response was to that? The military will not refuse my orders. implying that even if they are illegal, they will not refuse them. He's also talked about shooting protesters in the legs. Then he's talking about deploying more troops to American cities and using those cities as training grounds. Do you know what that means? That means using the American people for the military to train on. So we were looking forward to try to head something off at the pass that could have been really, really bad. So it wasn't about this specific thing.
So he has no specific reason for asking the military, for making a marketing video with 5 of his comrades saying, hey, don't carry out any unlawful orders. Listen, I did not hear that same marketing ploy when they were trying to force, when they did force many in our military to resign and to get out of the military because they wouldn't take an experimental injection into their arm. That was unlawful.
That part.
So he's talking about something that and I'm sorry, I didn't go back to 2016 because I'm so damn concerned with what's happening today. I didn't go back to 2016 to try to find the 20-second blurb where Trump may or may not have said something off cuff about they will carry out my orders. I also didn't bother to go back and look. He doesn't cite, listen, why is it that Allie and I have to cite our resources down to a hyperlink when we say something, but somebody like Mark Kelly can get on a stage and just ramble off anything and nobody in the press corps goes, excuse me, when did he say that?
No,
can you give
Jeffries
your source?
Does the same thing. Schumer does the same thing. AOC does the same thing. Maxine Waters does the same thing. Do you guys have, like, is there you catch a pattern yet? Like, this is ridiculous. And I cannot wait until something occurs with this man. Because this is not okay.
And Trump put it out in black and white, again, on social media. Take a look at this. This is exactly the law that Mark Kelly and others like him broke. He encourages everybody to read Title 18, Chapter 115, Section 2387, but he gives it here for you. Whoever with the intent to interfere, impair, influence the loyalty, morale, or discipline of the military and naval forces, fast forwards, to be defined or imprisoned up to 10 years. He says this is right on point. Do what has to be done. And he's specifically calling out Commander Kirk, is that Lippold from the U.S. Navy? And that is, Mark Kelly was a former, he's a veteran, obviously. Thank you for your service. That doesn't mean you have the right to try to sow distrust within the ranks of our military right now.
The fact that you have served and this is what you're doing is unconscionable. Like this,
but yet you couldn't stand up for people who were being forced to resign from the military without pay because they didn't want to take an injection. You never once worried about those that return back from overseas because they've had to carry out missions that largely replay in their heads that they feel maybe might not be moral or ethical. But yet those people, it falls on deaf ears, sorry.
I'm gonna go 2 steps further. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Benghazi and Abigate.
I was mad.
Benghazi and Abigate. That's all I'm going to say, because you guys know where I'm going with that. Because if there were honestly orders to be disobeyed and for them to do what needed to be done, they wouldn't have been there by themselves. They wouldn't have been left like they were in Benghazi.
The number of servicemen and women that did not return back, but in a casket to this country because the rules of engagement were so unfair under the Obama administration. But they didn't disobey orders. Where were you, Mark Kelly? To say, sir, maybe when they're being fired upon, maybe they can engage.
Yeah, that part. What are we talking about here? And obviously, this is what you're doing. And then there's no apology because literally, 12 hours after they came out with this video, 2 guardsmen were shot and 1 died.
Absolutely. But what was his rhetoric even at that press conference? He's talking about President Trump putting the military into these cities. He's not putting military into these cities to form concentration camps like they thought about doing under the hands of FEMA because you and I wouldn't put on a mask and get a needle in our arm. Again, there were orders already. You can go to the government websites and find them, especially through the UN. They had plans, guys, to have tented cities for those of us who would not fall and get injections. But nobody said anything in the Democrat side about that.
Like we've done with the Japanese, and like we've done with the Chinese, and like we've done with the Indians, and like we've done with the Irish, like we've been done. But that is not what's happening.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we're rounding up criminals, illegals that have come to this country by way of the Democrat Party aiding and abetting them. That is what we're doing. Mark Kelly, you need to go sit down somewhere. Have a moment.
Sit down. Well, I think they're going to give you a not so comfy bench in a court-martial probably. So we'll see how that works.
Bye.
But Allie, we like to give a highlight here to people that we consider independent journalism, independent journalists, citizen journalists, as General Flynn calls them, that are connecting the dots and giving links to their sources so you can vet them. It was reshared by Wall Street Apes. I'm trying to see if they name him here. I don't think they name the guy here, but he's exposing, Minnesota, guys. Minnesota's up in arms because as blue as they may be, they're not stupid. Minnesota taxpayers have been funding fraud at the hands of a Somalian community that have been giving over their fraudulent funds to Somalia, funding terrorism, again, at the cost of Minnesota taxpayers. And there have been people that have been screaming this from the hilltops. I want to fast forward, if we can, Krista, to the Democrats have no pilot on board. I believe that is, nope. Let me fast forward. NGOs bringing in Somalians. Let's take a listen to this kid and then we'll talk about it.
Why are Somalians in America? Yesterday, a Somalian rear-ended me, which thankfully no one was hurt and no damage was done to my truck. But it got me thinking, why are Somalians in America? Especially North Dakota and Minnesota. So I looked into it. The main group bringing in Somalians is Lutheran Social Services. They are led by this guy, and this is his staff. And turns out they get $2,375 for every Somalian they bring over. But we have to ask the question, why are they coming over here in the first place? And another surprise, turns out our government was funding a dictatorship in Somalia throughout the Cold War, led by Saeed Barre. And this dictatorship led to clan favoritism and overall just destabilized the country, and inevitably collapsed in 1991. Also, our troops were over there. This is where the movie Black Hawk Down comes from. But overall, Somalians have no right to be in America, especially North Dakota and Minnesota. They don't integrate into our societies. They carry over their clan mentalities. If you personally have never interacted with Somalian or just don't believe me, I would recommend checking out Nick Shirley's video he did the other day. What do you guys think about all this? Let me know down in the comments below. My name's Jeb Ball. Like and follow for more America First content.
Follow Jeb Ball on TikTok, y'all. He's so adorable.
He is adorable. And just putting it together. So, but did you hear how he talks about, again, these key words? We did this in Somalia, post-Cold War. Destabilized the region because we favored one leader.
Are you paying attention? Guys,
we've done it in other countries. General Flynn screams this from the rooftops. Why is it beyond the reach of reality that you would think people wouldn't do it here?
Okay, I'm gonna break this down. You are what you do, not what you say you do. You are what you do. That saying that actions speak louder than words rings true for everything in life.
Yeah.
Not just you individually, but as a whole. So America as a whole has been participating in these kinds of situations, color revolution, regime change, whatever name you want to give it, we've been doing without the American people's eyes or aware of what is going on. Now that we are paying attention and we have been in this revelatory phase of our lives since 2020, where the curtain is completely gone. The veil is gone. There's nothing that is happening that we do not really know about, right? We're now starting to understand the way that our country works. We're starting to understand that there's power players, there's money being spent everywhere, and the American people are pissed off, right? And we're like, well, how did this happen? Well, it's happened because this is what America has been doing. We currently have a president who no longer wants to do that, and he is bucking up against the system. And so what does that do? It makes the people that are in power that have continued to operate this way nervous because they want to continue to operate that way.
Well,
they don't want
Allie,
to continue to operate in the way that we are supposed to operate, which is a constitutional republic where we actually represent the people of America. And that is what President Trump and his administration is trying to do. Do you see now why we're in a war?
Right. This is largely why they do not, and they're trying to tatter the reputation of not only Donald Trump, but his Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, because there is a military-industrial complex that has largely made so much money off of government contracts and the rebuilding of these nations once we go in and destroy them. And obviously, even the humanitarian efforts that you aren't really humanitarian because it's all about the money they're getting. Every single facet of the military-industrial complex has been made to make money, and that's why they put their guard around it and try to put a stranglehold on it, because as long as you, the taxpayers, are more worried about the fact that you can't afford groceries and your kids are being indoctrinated in school and you can't afford medical care and the gas prices are blah, blah, blah. As long as you're worried about that, you don't worry about the fact that they are raping you through money, through taxpayer dollars, that you're not consenting to this at large. So, Allie, I think they're trying to stay alive, this deep state industrial complex. But here's something that's even crazy in Minnesota. So as we've revealed, the governor of Minnesota, who could have been our vice president, Tampon Tim, he on X. So, people have come out now and said, listen, Democrat, Republican, I'm just going to tell you, Tim Walz knew what was going on with these funds that were going to Somalia and all this fraud. We told him. And so here you have, let's show this screenshot. You've got the Minnesota Department of Health and Human Services. The official platform has come out and said, Tim Walz is 100% responsible for massive fraud in Minnesota. We let him know of fraud early on, hoping for a partnership to stop the fraud. But no, we got the opposite response. Then take a look what happened moments later. You and I have seen this many times.
Account suspended. I wonder why. Elon, I thought you bought Twitter. What happened?
Can we get a response from Elon?
Do we still have people that are, working under the radar at these places that are supposed to be hubs for, the First Amendment, free speech, and within our own government that are actively trying to derail and destabilize? Yeah, seems that way.
Well, Allie, I know we've got a couple of the stories
we're so black pill today, but
is it black pill or is it a reality pill?
It's just truth.
We are getting you out of the matrix. That's what we're doing. I want to remind people, if you're watching us from Tennessee or you have family relatives in Tennessee, today is the day that you get out and vote in the Tennessee's 7th congressional district. There is an open seat to replace former Representative Mark Green, who resigned in July. You've got a Democrat, you've got a Republican. Trump is backing the Republican Matt Van Epps. He's running against the Democrat Republican Representative Aftrin Bain. I've heard her referred to as the car alarm because her voice is. I don't know. It's just funny. I was listening to stuff this morning and people are like, her voice sounds like a car alarm. But I don't like that because sometimes if you can't debate a woman on content, you'd say things about the way she dresses and the way she sounds. So I'm not pushing that. I'm just saying it's kind of funny. Republican
noticing
Matt
that.
Van Epps.
Yeah,
get out and vote. And so
get out and vote. Go vote.
But the other question is, who puts an election between Thanksgiving and Christmas on a random Tuesday?
You really want to pull out that thread, Michelle? Really?
Allie, let's say it.
Are you sure?
Let's say it.
Are you sure?
This is Tennessee. It's a red state. Aren't they supposed to do the things right?
Florida, it took Governor DeSantis 6 months to call a special election for a seat in which he knew and the person he elevated knew was going to be open, and leave SD 14 with no Senate district, Florida Senate district, not congressional, state Senate district, without representation the entire session. So we have over 1 million people, not even 1 million. We have a couple 100,000 people without representation right now during session. And nobody's batting an eye. Nobody's saying anything.
You got to watch the Reds too, y'all. It's like, again, government operates to survive and protect itself. You can, it's on both sides of the aisle. And I always say this, Allie, this is why sometimes we aren't invited into some rooms. Well, you know what? It's okay. At the end of the day, I got to look at myself in the mirror and say, I called balls and strikes on both sides of the aisle.
At least you know what you get with us. You know that we're not going to stab you in the back. We're going to talk to you to your face. We're going to come to you and say, look, this is what we feel this is how I feel about this. Explain yourself.
Yes.
And they don't like that.
Yes. And so this is the question I'm getting asked now, which I love. How do we fix it? Okay. I hear you. How do we fix it?
How do we fix it? Yeah, you get plugged in.
That is a conversation we can have, sir. That is a conversation we can have. Let's take a look, as many of you put up your Christmas tree, I'm assuming, over the weekend. Let's take a look at the White House Christmas decor. Take a listen. Oh, it's beautiful.
The East Room is decorated patriotically to celebrate the upcoming 250th anniversary of the birth of the nation, while the Red Room's focus is fostering the future, and the Green Room celebrates family fun. In all, the First Lady decking the halls with over 25,000 feet of ribbon, more than 2,000 strands of lights, 120 pounds of gingerbread, and over 700 feet of garland, all to go along with 51 Christmas trees and 75 wreaths. That's a lot of numbers, but basically we can say huge effort, and you get a little bit of a glimpse here thanks to the First Lady.
We love it.
So
Melania,
beautiful.
Very beautiful, very beautiful. And the reason this is so, the reason this is so important is, I mean, we can remember not that long ago when I think it was Kamala Harris was saying, how dare we say Merry Christmas? I mean, she's just sounded like the Grinch herself. And I love it because President Trump took to the debate stage not that long after and said, we will be a nation that's okay saying Merry Christmas. Because we should be a nation that says, oh, I don't celebrate Christmas. Okay, it was just words. Like, let it fly out. If somebody comes up to me and, wishes me a happy Jewish holiday, okay, whatever. Like, it's we got to get over words. And the word police.
Whatever. Happy Merry Christmas. Absolutely. Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. There, you got all of them. Like, I'm so done with people. Merry, happy Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa. You ready? There you go. All right. Moving on.
Oh, Lord. So it's beautiful to see. And guys, what I would love to see is share with us some of your, I've had a few people on social media that have sent me kind of their ideas. Some people that do not take down their tree all year long. They'll make it like whatever the next holiday is. You saw there, they have a patriotic tree in the White House, but some of the people, and I think our city hall here where I live does the same thing. They kept the tree up. They did sort of a spring theme, and then they did a patriotic theme. And I mean, maybe it works. I don't know. I'm always grateful when the tree comes down. I love to put the tree up. But when the tree comes down, I feel like I have more room.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Oh, it's cute.
Oh, gosh. We're out of time, Allie.
Yeah, we are. I'm sad.
For today.
There's so much news we didn't even cover. It's just insane. But yeah, keep it locked here, you guys. There's Trump Tuesday tonight at 8 p.m. On X Spaces, where you get to learn all of the things that are going on this week in the Trump administration. Guys, we are just grateful for you for joining us. Thank you for sharing, and subscribing. Yes. We appreciate all of you. So thank you all for joining. We'll catch you
Absolutely, tomorrow. Guys. Keep it locked here. We'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Until then, make sure you keep your mic open.
What do you do when the gas is high? Inflation's up in the sky.